Here's something most men will never admit. Women are not hard to read. You just weren't taught how to look. And that's the problem. Not your confidence, not your looks, not your bank account. The problem is that she's been sending you signals. Clear, deliberate, unmistakable signals. And you've been standing right in front of her, completely blind to all of them. I want to talk to you today about something that doesn't get discussed honestly enough. These 4 subtle signs every woman gives when she wants to be pursued, and why men miss them almost every single time. Not because men are stupid, not because women are complicated, but because nobody ever sat men down and explained how female communication actually works at the psychological level. Society told men to wait for a direct invitation. Women don't work that way. We never have. When a woman wants a man to pursue her, she doesn't say it. She shows it in the smallest, most carefully placed gestures you could think of. And here's what makes it so fascinating. These aren't games. This is biology. This is thousands of years of social evolution packed into a glance, a pause, a laugh that lingers just a second too long. Most men walk away from those moments thinking, she was just being friendly, and she goes home wondering why he never made a move. By the time this video is over, that will never happen to you again. But before we get to the 4th sign, stay with me on that one, because it's the one men are most likely to actively misread as disinterest. Let's start from the beginning. Let me paint you a picture. You're at a social gathering. There's a woman across the room. You've spoken briefly, maybe a 5-minute conversation about something completely forgettable. And then she drifted off because that's what people do at parties. But here's what you didn't notice. She drifted off and came back. Twice. Once to tell you something mildly funny that happened near the snack table. Once to ask your opinion on something that didn't really require your opinion at all. That's not coincidence. That's choreography. When a woman is drawn to someone, she manufactures proximity. She finds reasons, sometimes brilliant, sometimes hilariously thin, to exist in your space. It might be the coworker who walks past your desk twice before she actually needs something from you. It might be the woman in your friend group who always seems to end up standing next to you in photos. It might be the girl who texts you a meme, not because the meme was particularly relevant, but because she wanted an excuse to open a conversation. Here's the psychological truth underneath this behavior. Women are acutely aware of social risk. The fear of rejection, of misreading a situation, of looking desperate. It keeps most women from being direct. So instead of saying, I want to spend time with you, she engineers situations where that time happens naturally, where it feels mutual, where she can tell herself she didn't fully put herself out there in case you don't respond the way she hoped. What men interpret as coincidence or friendliness is often deliberate positioning. Now, and this is important, proximity alone isn't the signal. Lots of people are friendly. What distinguishes this behavior is the repetition and the lack of necessity. She keeps coming back. She keeps finding you, without any logistical reason to. If a woman is in your life and you notice she invents reasons to interact with you, not just once, not just when it's convenient, but consistently, she is not being casual. She is telling you, without using a single word, that your presence matters to her. The question is whether you're paying enough attention to notice. This one is subtle in a way that takes some unpacking, because it looks almost like ordinary conversation. But it's not. When a woman wants to be pursued, she will reveal things about herself in a way that feels almost confessional. Personal stories, small vulnerabilities, opinions she'd normally keep to herself. She'll tell you about the fight she had with her mother, the career ambition she's afraid to say out loud, the movie that made her cry in public. And she'll tell you specifically why, because intimacy is currency. When a woman opens herself up emotionally in a conversation, when she goes beyond surface level with someone, she is making an investment. She is showing you, I trust you with something real. And underneath that is a quiet invitation. Now you know me a little better. Doesn't that make you want to know more? This is not random vulnerability. Women are careful about who they open up to. So if she's telling you things she doesn't tell most people, pay attention to that. It's not just that she's comfortable around you, it's that she wants you to see her clearly. Because women who want to be pursued don't want to be pursued as a mystery. They want to be pursued as a person. Here's the contrast men often miss. A woman who is simply being polite will keep conversations pleasant and surface level. She'll talk about the weather, the event, mutual friends. She'll smile and move on. But a woman who lingers in the emotional depth of a conversation with you, who asks what you actually think, who shares what she actually feels, is not just making small talk. She is building something, carefully, intentionally. There's also a secondary layer here that's worth noting. Studies in social psychology, particularly research on interpersonal closeness, show that mutual self-disclosure accelerates emotional bonding faster than almost any other behavior. Women know this intuitively, whether they've read the research or not. When she opens up to you, she is subconsciously setting the stage for the kind of connection that makes pursuit feel natural on both sides. And here's something I want you to hold on to before we move to sign 3. There's a specific way she looks at you when she's doing this, a detail in her body language that makes her intention unmistakable. We're getting there. Let's talk about eye contact, but not in the way you've heard before. You've probably been told that sustained eye contact is a sign of attraction, and that's true. But it's incomplete, because it's not just that she holds eye contact. It's what happens right after that most men completely miss. There's a pattern in female attraction behavior that researchers call the look away and look back. A woman who is interested in you will meet your gaze, hold it just a beat longer than strangers normally would, then look away. And then, within a few seconds, she'll look back. That return glance, that's the signal. The first look could be anything. Curiosity, recognition, coincidence. But the second look, the one she gives after she's already looked away, that one is a choice. She didn't have to look back. She wanted to. Now combine that with something else. When she's talking to you, really talking to you, not just exchanging words, watch where her eyes go when she laughs. When something genuinely amuses a woman, her first instinct is to make eye contact with the person she's most interested in. It's automatic. It's not calculated. It's her nervous system telling you something her words won't. Body language as a whole is a language worth learning. But the eyes are the most honest part of it, because they're the hardest to consciously control. You can practice your smile, you can regulate your posture, you cannot easily fake the moment where your eyes drift back to someone you can't stop thinking about. Here's the real-world version of this. Think about a time you were in a group conversation with a woman you were drawn to. When someone else said something funny, where did you look? You looked at her. You wanted to see her reaction. You wanted to share that moment with her, even silently. That impulse? She feels it too. And when she acts on it, when she seeks your eyes across the room, across the table, in the middle of a laugh, she's telling you exactly what she won't say out loud. I promised you the body language detail from sign 2. Here it is. When she's sharing something vulnerable and she looks at you directly while she says it, not at the table, not at her hands, not at the middle distance, she's not just talking. She's watching how you receive her. She wants to know if you're safe, if you understand. If you're the kind of person who will take what she gives you seriously. That look is one of the most intimate things a woman can offer in an early connection. Most men look away, or they change the subject, or they don't even register it as significant. Don't be that man. This is the one. The sign that men misread most catastrophically. When a woman is interested in a man and considering whether he's worth pursuing, or rather worth being pursued by, she will often unconsciously test him. Not out of cruelty, not out of games, out of self-protection and genuine curiosity about who he actually is. These tests come in different forms. She might push back on something you said, not because she disagrees, but because she wants to see if you'll fold immediately to please her or hold your ground with confidence. She might go slightly quiet after a period of warmth, creating a small distance to see if you panic, over-explain, or stay steady. She might mention casually that another man finds her attractive, watching to see if you get rattled or remain grounded. None of this is malicious. All of it is information gathering. Here is what she is actually trying to answer. Is this man emotionally secure? Does he know his own value? Can he handle the weight of a real connection without crumbling or becoming defensive? And here is what most men do wrong. They either fail the test by becoming visibly anxious and overcompensating, or they fail in the opposite direction by becoming cold and withdrawn, thinking she's lost interest. Both responses tell her the same thing. He's not ready. The man who passes these tests doesn't pass them by being perfect. He passes them by being present, by staying warm but not desperate, by holding his perspective without becoming rigid, by not treating her behavior as a threat to his ego. Here's the surprising truth most people don't know. Behavioral researchers who study mate selection have found that what women describe as being attracted to confidence is almost never about bravado or dominance. It's specifically about emotional regulation under social pressure. A man who stays calm, engaged, and secure when a woman pulls back slightly, that man reads as safe and strong simultaneously. That combination is rarer than you think. And when she finds it, she doesn't just want to be around it. She wants to be chosen by it. So the next time a woman who's been warm with you suddenly gets a little quiet, don't spiral. Don't withdraw. Don't flood her with messages. Just stay. Stay present. Stay yourself. That's what she's looking for. Here's the realization I want you to sit with. Every single sign we've talked about today, the manufactured proximity, the selective vulnerability, the weighted eye contact, the careful test, they all come from the same place. They come from a woman who is interested, but afraid to be wrong. And that fear is real. Women are not mysterious for the sake of mystery. They are careful because being direct and being rejected carries a particular kind of sting that most men underestimate. So they signal, they show up, they open up, they look back, they test, and they wait to see if you're paying enough attention to notice. Attraction is not a performance. It is a conversation happening mostly in silence. And the men who understand this, who learn to listen to what isn't being said, those are the men women describe years later as the ones who really saw them. Not the loudest man in the room, not the one with the sharpest line, the one who was paying attention when everyone else was performing. That's the shift. Attraction isn't about what you say next. It's about how well you've been listening this whole time. Now, if any part of this conversation shifted something for you, you're going to want to watch this next, because knowing the signs is one thing, but knowing exactly how to respond, how to move, how to connect, how to make her feel something she hasn't felt in a long time, that's a completely different level. I put together something that gets into the specific physical language of deep attraction. Not surface stuff, the real mechanics of what creates that visceral, can't-explain-it pull between two people. It's called 7 Touches that will make a mature woman fall deeply in love with you. Watch it right now. I think it's going to change a few things for you.